Aho, bujo indenoy magnadok. Anin, kage gabo indigenous cause. Mekanak and dudem. Mekanak wajuing and dunjaba. Beshoga kapakang and danongom. Webinige-giizis �. What I said there was a traditional Ojibwe protocol greeting. I said hello, all of my relatives. My name is Kage Gabo. I'm Turtle Clan. I'm a descendant of Turtle Mountain. I live close to Minneapolis today, and I wanted to thank all of you for tuning in and listening to this live Ojibwe Word of the Day. Again, this is something I look forward to doing all week, and if you take a few moments out of your day to talk about, to listen to discuss Ojibwe, Anishinaabe, Chippewa language, culture, history, linguistics, spirituality, I'm incredibly grateful for that. So, Webinige-giizis �. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. And tonight's word of the day, it's topical. And I realized, well, I haven't had a chance to speak about this for an entire year. And it's Webinige-giizis. Webinige-giizis. I posted this earlier this week as a word of the day because February has a number of different names for this month. And I think it's absolutely beautiful, and it shows like the great deal of observation the Anishinaabe and the ancestors put into observing what the climate is like during each month, during each moon. So Webinige-giizis, it literally means the throwing away moon, the throwaway moon. Some other names for this month are Gatak-giizis, the short moon, Migizi-giizis, the eagle moon. This is when the Migiziwug are starting to come back. They're starting to migrate back up north. The other one was the short moon. Another one I've heard is Makunsi-giizis. This is the bear cub moon. This is when the bear cubs are being born. One of my favorites, and this was my first ever word of the day. It was almost, I don't know if it was 3 or 4 years ago, Webinige-giizis, the suckerfish moon. And the origin story for that is so beautiful and so touching. It was fitting that should be my very first word of the day. And then this month is also called Webinige-giizis, the throwing away moon. And when I posted that, I had a number of questions, people asking, well, what does that actually mean? Or what's the etymology of that? Or what's the origin story of that name? And I thought I would share that with all of you tonight. Because it's very healing. And I think it's something important about the culture to share, to talk about. So when I originally heard about this was in second year Ojibwe. And I had read a story by Noakamagukweban, the late Maud Keg. And in an Oshkabewas native journal, she told the story of, I think it was Nokomiska Enajimotowit, what my grandmother told me. And grandma was explaining to her that in the midwinter, maybe during Gichimanadu-giizis, maybe during January or February, they would have what the Anishinaabe called Webinige-giizis. And she said if there was a period in time when you were feeling ill, and that couldn't mean illness with your body or any kind of illness, you could take a stick, a mitigoons, and you could tie like a tobacco tie at the end of it. Be filled with a sema, and you would go out to Gokomisanan, to our grandmother, the moon. And you would yell out with your stick, Newebanon and Dakoziwan, I am throwing away my illness. And then you would throw the stick with the tobacco at the moon, and Gokomisanan, our grandmother, takes the illness from us. And we get healed. In the next story, she recounted how there was a little boy who was joking around, and he yelled out, I'm throwing away my leg. And she states that before the next Webinige-giizis came, that boy had broken his leg. So in a way, he had lost his leg. So they took it very seriously. And there's something I think of really amazing about this ceremony and about this time of year. So cross-culturally, we are about a month past the new year in the Gregorian calendar. So a lot of people who have New Year's resolutions, goals for the new year, maybe some of these goals, you're already starting to not meet them. And that may be a typical thing for a lot of people. For Anishinaabe, our new year will begin in Zigwan, will begin in spring. And spring is on the way. Spring is coming. So for me, this is a perspective of I am throwing away my illness. I am making resolutions too for how I want to begin the next year. So one of the cool things you can do with this is this idea of akoziman, your sickness. It may not just mean pain in your body. Your illness that you could be throwing away could be a number of things. It could be your nishgatsuan, your anger, your rage. It could be minikwewan. It could be drinking. It's like a sway. It's like a swallow. Smoking. A number of things that may be holding you back from being the person you want to be. And here you have an opportunity to throw that away. Another part, and this is something I learned in first year Ojibwe, was a way to describe quitting something was to Webinige-giizis, was to throw it away. So my teacher explained, well, if you're giving up cigarettes, you could say, Newebinog, Opogansuk. I'm throwing away the little tobacco pipes. I am throwing away the little pipes. I'm giving them up. I'm throwing it out. And psychologically speaking, and from a healing point of view, there's something that comes up with if you actually state what is making you ill, the illness you want to get rid of. There's an anthropologist who wrote this I think this was in the 1930s, that a huge catalyst for healing in traditional times for Giizis Anishinaabe people who literally lived in lodges, who got their food and their water and their clothing and their medicine from Aki, from the earth. That the main catalyst, the main point where they began their healing was admitting that something was wrong, admitting that they had maybe done something, but not just to confess it, but to state it in the open, to come to terms with it. And in that case, they began healing after that. So if you're dealing with maybe nishgatsuan, anger, rage, in today's political climate, that can be easy to acknowledge, and maybe that rage is keeping you from minobamatsuan, from a good life, a life of peace, a life of balance, life without conflict with your relatives, or contradiction, saying one thing and then doing another. Then maybe that's something that you can give to Gokomisanan, the moon. And the moment you can actually say it, the moment you can state it, even if it's not to someone else, even if it's to the moon, you're stating that I have this problem, I smoke, I drink, I shop, I have unsafe sexual practices. All of these things, you can give that up. Tell someone and then begin healing as the new year is beginning. And I think that can be a very profound moment for one. And I think it can be the best way to begin a new year as spring is rolling around. And if you can think about it, some people may be embarrassed to admit that, even to something like Gokomisanan, our grandmother, the moon. But if you think about it, Gokomisanan has unconditional love for Anishinaabe. When she is shining at night, she is shining on everyone, on saints, on sinners, on thieves and teachers, on priests and prostitutes. She is willing to accept anyone's illness, and that if you were to let go of it, to throw it away, she can not only accept it, but she can begin healing you. And so I think that's a really cool and beautiful and healing ceremony that anyone can do. And so as we have a super moon approaching, if you do want to get a stick, tie a little tobacco tie on it, and at night when you see the moon, begin your healing, then I highly suggest you do that. And if you can do that, and if you can begin healing yourself, then you're going to have an opportunity to heal others. You're going to have an opportunity to seek out Menopamatsu and life of peace and balance, life of health, the good life. It's going to make it much easier for you to live with Debwewan, with truth, with Gwaikwadzizuan, with virtue and righteousness and honesty, with Zagyitdiwan. If you're receiving that unconditional love from Gokomasanan, it's going to make it much easier for you to give that to all of your relatives. With Dabasaindazuan, with genuine humility, with Manajitdiwan, with respect for all of your relatives, acknowledging all of your relatives' sanctity, their sacredness. Having that strength of heart, that Zungadeewan, that bravery, that courage to let go, to admit and let go. You're going to be acting intelligently, with wisdom, with true intelligence. And that's going to help everyone lead a good life. So, mi ie wa kirayan nongom. That's all I'm going to say this evening. Pijigo Miigwe-giizis. Thank you all so much for listening to this live Ojibwe Word of the Day. Again, if you know someone who is interested in our language, our culture, our history, our linguistics, our ethics, our spirituality, our history, please feel free to like and share this video. Aho, Miigwe-giizis. Dagasana and Guamzik. Please, all of you, do take care. And the spirits will decide when we see each other again.